we presume that so long as we're on the path of Dhamma, practicing diligently, working carefully to maintain Sila, Samādhi, Paññā, maintaining virtue in our behavior, whether through thought, speech, or bodily action, maintaining our mental cultivation through the practice of meditation, proper, and through the maintenance of constant investigation, through insight, observing moment to moment how the mind unfolds, how emotions and feelings and thoughts and perceptions unfold, and how that brings insight, which is wisdom. That so long as we are doing these, engaged in these steps, carefully, diligently, that somehow life must be easier for us, must come easier, must be kinder to us. And that is not so. That is not supposed to be the case. Yes, the mind settles in and becomes more contented, more tranquil, more at ease, where yesterday's troubles, yesterday's worries do not affect us as much. But that doesn't mean that we're going to nullify those problems, making them go down to an absolute zero. Because as our ability to work through life's challenges requires us to have the foresight to use the experiences from the past, the abilities that we have now, to not be swayed so easily by the troubles of yesterday, but that should also work by giving us the faith that we can muster up the courage to sustain the pressures and the difficulties of today and of tomorrow. To remain unshaken, unperturbed, despite the vicissitudes of life and its challenges, that is the highest blessing. Lord Buddha says from the Sutta Nipata, in the Mahāmoggallāna Sutta, the mind is unperturbed, stainless and pure, despite the outside circumstances. Now that is a challenge. Of course, everyone will want to, every one of us, will want to have basically our experiences in the Dhamma, in the practice, be so strong that we are no longer affected. We become like a fortress. For each of us, it's going to be a different gradation, I guess. It's, if you would like to call it, a different level of how it can land, of intensity, a level of intensity in its impact. But we need to rely on the state of contentment that we were able to experience in the past, despite what is happening in front of us at this moment. and bring up that enthusiasm, that fervor, and infuse it with more effort, with directed thought, giving it heart, giving it your authenticity, while maintaining your investigation, your examination of what is first taking place in the mind, not what is taking place in the outside. That is the truest challenge, as I see it. Because that will allow you to go deeper into the Dhamma, to taste the fruits of the Dhamma. Yes, today happens to be a lot more challenging to live on this planet, absolutely, because it's on a global scale. It's the strife that many people who are questioning what is happening in the world, and that is what needs to be done, instead of just closing both eyes and pretending nothing's happening and just following the herd, but asking questions. And many of you are asking questions, legitimate questions, because you are seeing what's happening. You're seeing the playbook, you're seeing the patterns, in fact. It's too obvious, even for one who does not know anything about the Dhamma, but knows a little bit about investigation, looking with discernment. Too many blind people. But some of you are seeing with wide open eyes, and that can make the heart unsettled. And that is my concern. That is what I'm urging you to bring your attention back to. Your practice. Bring your practice back home. Bring your practice back home to you, to your heart. First, what is happening in my body? That is the first question to be asked. Notice if the breath has gone shallow, if it's gotten quick, speedy, not deep, where you're disconnected from the breath, or you don't feel your body, you don't feel your feet touching the ground, your body touching the chair or the mat. So take a few breaths here. Reconnect with the breath by leaving whatever belongs to the world, at least for this moment. Next, do not engage with the papanchas. The papanchas are the mental proliferations instigated by the sankharas, that are instigated by the sannyas, by the memories, mental associations. They become that quintessential tiger that was brought to life from its bones, that the magicians put a spell on it and only ended up pouncing on the magician itself, the one who gave it life and devoured him. That's what the papanchas are. So do not engage with the papanchas. That is not our mission. There's no way you will beat them, because they are fueled by your sankharas, and the sankharas are too vast in number. They're more vast than the molecules of water in all of the oceans, in fact, put together. All the molecules of water in all the oceans, and lakes, and rivers combined. So do not even entertain any of the papanchas, the moment you notice that, bring your attention back to the body. Connect it with the breath, and then feel slowly, 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 slowly. With your practice of metta, just generate tiny little droplets of love towards you, forgiveness towards you. And if any thoughts of people, wrongdoers and things and these characters who are at the helm of the pain that you're experiencing comes to mind, any of these images, any of these names that are causing so much turmoil in the world, any of these so-called facts perpetrate your mind and its peacefulness that you're trying to surround yourself in. Again with the metta, let your metta pierce through that veil and breathe through that some more. Breathe through that some more. So connecting with the body first, checking in. Being okay with that experience, slowly, slowly creating that self-regulated state of mind with tranquility. And some of you might slide all the way into a jhana, which is wonderful, if that happens. When that happens, just float into Samādhi. Allow upekkha to permeate everywhere in your body. And spread it out around you. Create a safety zone that you're aware of. And do this once a day at least. You can incorporate this into your daily meditation. Or whenever it comes to mind, whenever you feel overwhelmed for whatever reason. We are not living in a fair world. We are not living in a just world. It can never be that way on a sustainable level. There is no world like that. The mind likes to think that there can be. That is just bhavasava. That is just the longing for becoming, for leaving this place for the better one, without doing the work to understand that there is craving there. But even though this world doesn't have fairness in it, that does not give it, the world, the right to come and disrupt the tranquility and the maturity of your heart. Remember, Venerable Mahāmoggallāna, the chief disciple of Lord Buddha, alongside Venerable Sariputta, he was followed, he was attacked, his kuti was attacked repeatedly. And after avoiding being attacked by these mercenaries, hired individuals who were promised pieces of gold by the Jains to go ahead and kill this chief disciple, this 80-year-old highly advanced meditator who had perfect ability in psychic abilities, psychic powers, second only to Lord Buddha. Eventually, he looked back into his past to see why are these people still persistently coming back to his kuti, even though he's seeing their intentions to want to kill him and who sent him. He knew those thoughts. He knew who sent them. But that was not important. He wanted to see why him. And he looked back and he saw how he had been responsible for the murder of his own. He had killed his own blind mother and father eons earlier. And he says, I see. But despite the fact of the purity of his heart, the enormity of his merits, and the enormity of the work that he had done in bringing forth so many arahants, responsible for the arahantship, if you will, of so many bhikkhus whom he had trained himself. He saw that he had ultimately no control over this body because the body belongs to the world, loka. And it is subject to its laws, if you will. In whatever karmic laws that this world places one in. And in this case, in our time, we are all placed in this collective karma of the world and of ourselves, of our species, at this point in our history. Throughout the world. Collectively. So, the body that we are inhabiting is not ours to keep. Ultimately, we all know that we will not be carrying a single hair with us anywhere to safety. It is not worth, therefore, keeping when all the odds are against us. And you have done your part. You are doing your part to protect it, to keep it safe, and especially your integrity. Your freedom in thinking, intuitively understanding, not being blind, but seeing through things. But that seeing through things needs to also penetrate beyond the body and see the Dhamma that we are here for. We are here to experience, to understand and to penetrate and to allow this dropping of this body at the end of this life to be the final time that we do so. We are not here to live forever. We are not here to keep the body forever. To protect the body's so-called protection. After so many times of evading them, the mercenaries, Venerable Mahāmoggallāna said, okay, you can have it. And they came and cut him. Tore him into pieces with their knives. And they left, kicked him and saw that he was all bloodied and he's dead. They took off. Thanks to his psychic abilities, superior psychic abilities, he put himself back together, bloodied robes, and he reappeared in Lord Buddha's presence, bowing to him, paying respect, taking his leave for the final time by showing his respect to his teacher, to the Lord of the Dhamma, who had given him the deathless, who has given us the deathless. Our ultimate aim is not to maintain this body. We cannot do that. There is this thing called anicca. That's always going to be with us, so long as we have not yet crossed the flood of samsara. The body will not take us to the other shore. The Dhamma will. How we practice the Dhamma in this body, as much as we can hold this body safe. But ultimately it's not in our hands, because the body is namarupa. Rupa is built by the four great elements. Nama is made with attention, intention, phassa or contact, sanya, and feeling. All of which are changing constantly. None of which has its own identity. None of which knows that it exists. None of which has the ability to know. They rely on each other, just like the collective khandas or the aggregates, be it feeling, be it sanya, be it sankhara, or be it vijnana. They all rely on each other. That's why Lord Buddha calls this the mirage. This movie, if you will, the magic show. So let's not be convinced of the magic show. And remember why we're here. So I wanted to mention these things, and hopefully it would be useful to your practice in your life, to keep you steadily close to the Dhamma and to gain its highest fruits. Blessings of the Triple Gem be upon you and your loved ones.